Hello and welcome to the Indiana State Police Roadshow. I'm your host, Sergeant John Prine, the Public Information Officer for the Indiana State Police Indianapolis District. The Roadshow is brought to you each and every week by the Indiana State Police Alliance and Cops for Kids, a subsidiary of the State Police Alliance. For more information about our sponsor, you can visit them at www.indianasfinest.com. I want to thank our friends at MS Communication Network Indiana for getting us on the radio waves each and every week. We do appreciate them, their partnership, and their willingness to allow us to use their studio. The man behind the camera making us look so good today is Tom Trial. Puts up a lot of work into this so that you can see us on the YouTube channel. We're thankful for that. All the way up from the beautiful 70 and sunny area of Evansville, Indiana, is good friend and newly promoted Sergeant Seth Rainey. Seth, welcome.
Thank you, John. Appreciate
Congratulations on your promotion.
Thank you very much. Appreciate
and a familiar face of the show, the guy whose voice you hear and the face you see. He is the face of ISP recruiting, Sergeant Dean Wildauer.
Thank you very much for the warm welcome.
Yeah, and so we so appreciate you guys both being here. We're excited to tell people that the Indiana State Police is hiring troopers right now.
Absolutely.
We want troopers. We want people to apply and think about a career in law enforcement with the Indiana State Police.
Yeah, definitely. We're and you know, it is a different climate out here. It's not like they're beating down the doors to come. But I think the neat thing is what we offer. We offer the freedom, the mobility. We talk about the almost like being self-employed. You're out there, you're making a difference in your community. And I think Sergeant Coxis is not here today. Made a very neat statement one time. He said, "We hire character. We will train the skill." And it's truly what we do. We look for good people and good character from all over the state and outside of the state of Indiana.
Yeah, John. And one thing we talk about too is one badge, endless opportunities. And looking at you here now in this radio studio, I remember you as a firearms instructor at my academy.
Yeah.
You know, then some 13 years later, we're sitting here doing a radio show.
That's how old John is. I mean, he's been on dirt. I mean, he's been on for a while. So
yeah, I mean, but it's amazing what this career opportunity where it can take you.
It is cool. And what I always tell people that are talking about is, if you can imagine anything that you see on TV that law enforcement does, we have it.
Absolutely.
Crime scene investigators, SWAT, detectives. We have computer forensics folks. But then on the other side of that, we have a civilian lab that does all of the behind-the-scenes criminal analysis work. And so if you can imagine it in law enforcement, the Indiana State Police has it.
Yes, and I think the great thing, I come from a law enforcement background. Both my brothers are law enforcement. We worked for the three largest agencies in the state of Indiana. The Indianapolis Police Department's number one. The Indiana State Police were the second largest, and then the Marion County Sheriff's Department was the third. I had a brother on both Indianapolis Police Department and Marion County. But the neat thing about my job is I always tell them my playground is bigger than yours. They're responsible for Indianapolis. Yeah. The other brother's responsible for Marion County. So my older brother's son decided he wanted to get in law enforcement, and I'm proud to say he is an Indiana State Trooper.
Yeah, very cool. And it is neat, the opportunities that we have, and not just the job you do every day, but your ability to be involved in special events throughout the state. I mean, Big Ten football championship, we had troopers on the sidelines. You know, Indy 500, we've got troopers on the pavement on the front stretch. I mean, just the cool things that you get a chance to do.
Yeah, we have troops standing in the yard of bricks, and we're down at the regatta down on the Ohio River, southern part. A lot of people don't realize what we do and the phone calls we received. A lot of people don't realize about with the hurricane that devastated New Orleans years ago. We had troopers that went down to Biloxi, Mississippi, and took over the town for a while.
So just a cool opportunity. One thing that we're asking is, if you know somebody, a nephew, a son, a neighbor, and you say, hey, I think that person has the character to be a good Indiana State Trooper, why don't you give us the call, give us their contact information, and we'll take care of the rest.
Absolutely. I mean, right now is a great opportunity to apply for our 83rd Academy. Right now, indianatrooper.com, you can go there and find all the information and apply online. But like you said, some of your listeners might know somebody out there that's, you know, hey, they think would be good at law enforcement, and talk about the opportunities the state police can offer them. But indianatrooper.com. And what's great about this process that's going on right now, if you get in sooner, and we're encouraging everybody to get their application in sooner, because the sooner you'll test on your written, on your physical, and the sooner that review, a successful applicant will get his name to the superintendent, he or she's named to the superintendent quicker.
And we have recruiters that cover every corner of the state. If you have any questions, it doesn't even have to be a recruiter. You can call your district PIO, you can call your district lieutenant, whatever district you live in. If you go on the internet and find out where I live, what state police district covers me, give that post a call and ask your questions, and they will answer your questions or connect you with the right people. because I remember going through, I had a lot of questions. I didn't have access to the internet to where I could just Google some of these things. So it was important to have that liaison, that person you could call and ask those questions for.
And that's a great point you bring up. We're getting ready to have workshops all over the state. Our first one is coming up here on the 11th. It's in the Indianapolis or the central area. And after that, we're having them.
I mean, we're going to be in Fort Wayne. We're going to be in East Chicago. We're going to be down in Evansville. We're going to be over in New Albany. And all these readiness workshops are a great opportunity for someone to come in and learn about all phases of our hiring process. And you're even getting an opportunity to do some PT with troopers if you choose at the end. And I know Dean's had a big part of the readiness workshops before.
Yeah, and they're great. What it does is it takes out the unknown. And the biggest thing about applying for a police department, a fire department, a job, going to work for Google is the unknown. What do I expect? And like you said, when you and I applied, we didn't have the internet. We had the internet, but we didn't have the accessibility and availability to answer all the questions. We want people to come to our workshop with questions. And we're going to break down the entire hiring process from filling out the application to putting the badge and the uniform on in the end.
And, you know, one of the biggest questions I get, and it's a tough one to answer sometimes, but it's, where am I going to have to live? And that is hard, because as an Indiana State Trooper, you have to be willing to reside anywhere in the state of Indiana. However, I like to tell people there's a little asterisk by that. Once you're established, they're not going to come to you and say, hey, guess what? We need help in Evansville. You're moving to Evansville. It's not like that, right? When you say I'm willing to live anywhere, it's, hey, when you get hired, they may send you somewhere outside of your home area. At some point in the very near future, you'll get a chance to transfer back. Once you're established, I can't remember an instance where they've told somebody, hey, you got to move just because we need somebody else down there.
No, this department will not move you because of a need. But when you sign on, you are signing a piece of paper that says you're willing to live anywhere in the state of Indiana. With that being said, this administration does an incredible job at placing people back where they're from. We're not going to uproot you if you own a home, your wife or husband has a job, your kids are in school. That's not our plan. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. If something happens at one of our posts and all of a sudden there's a gas leak, an explosion, and all of a sudden this district is 14 troopers short now,
yeah.
We're going to fill that need.
But that's a response. That's not a permanent move, right?
Correct.
We're not going to say, hey, guess what? You have to move to Lafayette for a year.
Correct.
So some people get confused on that when they see that being willing to reside anywhere. They kind of think it's kind of like the military, where once you're done with this mission, they tell you where you're going next. And once you establish yourself,
you're there.
You may have different jobs, but they're not jobs you have to move for.
Correct. And
unless you choose.
Right. We have a captain. The captain that we work for, an incredible, he just got promoted captain not that long ago. He was from Southern Indiana. When he wanted to come out of the academy, the need was not in Southern Indiana, it was in Indianapolis. He came up to Indianapolis, and he never went back to Southern Indiana. He's still here. He's had several opportunities, and he's a captain now, lives in Indianapolis.
Yeah.
So
and that's part of my experience too. I mean, when I came out of the recruit school, I got assigned to Lowell District and eventually transferred back to Evansville, but I learned so much from Northwest Indiana. I never lived up there. I've always lived in Southern Indiana, but I thought it made me even better as a police officer by getting to see other parts of our state.
Yeah, and it is. And same thing for me. I got sent to Lowell as a young trooper, and at the time it didn't make sense. But now as I look back, I learned so much.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
It was really good to work away from home for a while before I went back.
In the old days, it changes a lot. I remember we had a young man in our academy they sent to Gary, Indiana from Evansville, and a young man from Gary they sent to Evansville. That's when they used to enjoy doing that. This administration is not like that at all. We will try to get you back to where you're from.
And we're pretty excited also to know that we have a pool of potential troopers that are going to start the academy January 9th. And that's coming up right around the corner. We just graduated one last week.
Just graduated in the academy last week. It's 29, I believe?
29.
Yeah, 29 young, aggressive, excited guardians. I mean, we're not, how do I explain the state police when we took on a new role? We're guardians. We'll step up and be warriors when we need to be, but we're more guardians. And we have 29 new guardians that are going to be all over the state that are going to do phenomenal job.
Excited to get into their communities and provide that protection,
absolutely.
that service that is expected.
Yeah, and two, they just graduated and they're 12 weeks away from having a brand new police car. I mean, how many times can you say that as getting hired to a new department where you're going to do 12 weeks of FTO, then once that period's over, you're going to have a brand new car.
Yeah.
31 years, the only new cars I've ever owned, the state police has provided me. So that's been pretty cool.
Yeah, and again, we talk about, people often have these ideas that I want to be a detective, or I want to be scuba, or I want to be SWAT. I can tell you that everybody goes through the same initial training.
Yes.
To the Indiana State Police, the academy. You go to a district, you go through your field training. But we have detectives at the Indianapolis district that have less than 5 years of patrol time, and they've chosen that path to go into investigations. So it's not one of those things where you've got to necessarily do 20 or 25 years before you can choose what you want to do.
Right. A lot of smaller departments, they might have 4 detectives for an entire department. We have over 200. I mean, we have several opportunities, guys getting promoted, moving on, doing different things. So definitely several opportunities within a 5-year period to move on and advance. But everyone needs to start out being a policeman, being on the road, learn how to work an accident, work in theft investigations. So
what do you tell the folks, Seth, that say, I'm not sure I want to be highway patrol? Because some people have this perception the Indiana State Police is highway patrol. And although we all know that's not the truth, it's the perception.
Sure.
So what do you tell somebody when they say that?
Yeah, well, and I'm learning that right now. I've talked to several future applicants, and just open up about my experiences. I mean, because some people say, well, you're only highway patrol. No, we're heavily involved in the community. I talk about my time as I coach youth football in Mount Vernon. It's one of the big things I do. I'm involved in the community, and there's so many other things I'm doing besides just out here on the road patrolling. I mean, I look at this position as somebody that's heavily involved in the community, and as a troopers we are. I mean, because there's so many times that troopers around the state they're the front lines of our recruiters. I mean, they're out there talking to individuals and sending them our way. So I answer all the questions I can, and I think that who I've talked to here recently have had a way different perspective than what the state police offers.
Yeah, and we have police jurisdiction in any square inch of the state of Indiana.
It goes to the playground. It's a large one.
And so as does any police officer in the state of Indiana.
Sure.
The way the law works is any police has that police power. But I like the fact that if I'm working and something is going on in the next district, the next county, the next town, the next city, and they need help, I go, right?
Absolutely.
And I like to be able to be available to help.
Yeah.
And that's kind of one of the cool things that the Indiana State Police has allowed me is that ability to kind of be available when a critical incident occurs, and so that we can be there to offer our assets, not necessarily take over, but we can help, and we all come together as a team.
Yeah, we're a big assist agency. We'll assist with anything, whether it be an active shooter, whether it be a rash of heroin overdoses. Look at Scott County years ago. We sent several troopers down there, and we tried to we assisted the local police department. So we're a lot more than a highway patrol, and we don't even fall under the classification of highway patrol.
So www.indianatrooper.com is where you can get all the information, right? When we're hiring, where we're hiring. Right now we have an application process open for trooper. That would start in July-ish.
Yes, that's correct. And the application deadline for this 83rd Academy is March 27th. So we encourage everybody to get those applications in as soon as possible.
Yeah, so you have until March 27th, but get it in. Even if you're not sure, you're saying, hey, I don't know what I want to do, but now is a good time to get your foot in the door. You get all the way through, you get to the end, you say, hey, it's not for me. Well, that's not something we're happy to hear, but we understand if somebody willingly steps away and says, hey, I've changed my mind.
I would encourage some of the very first thing I would suggest people do a ride along.
Yeah.
Could wind up like the TV show, you never know, but or the movie, but do a ride along. It'll let you know what we do, why we do what we do.
Yeah. Yeah, and every district in the state offers that ride along. You can contact your local district, and they'll get you set up with that. So we have about a minute and a half here. We talked about the readiness workshops. We're hiring. We had a recruit class just graduate. What else do you have for us?
Well, I said everybody that's looking for to get on with Indiana State Police, the readiness workshop is the biggest thing that we're going to have coming up. Like I said, East Chicago.
And where can they find the schedule of where those readiness workshops
We got to
are?
post it on all of our social media at ISP Recruiting. That's Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Okay.
You can find all those information and flyers. And there'll be, as Indianapolis is coming up next weekend, we've put out information to the local media to share. So that's going to be at our District 52 post.
Yes. Yep. It'll be at District 52, and I think it was the 11th. And
9 to noon.
9 to noon, and we're pretty prompt. We're going to start right at 9, and we'll have you done by noon. You might be a little sweaty when we're done. We're going to do a little PT session at the end, but we're going to break down every part of our hiring process. And I would tell you, even if you're a police officer in another agency, come. Ask us questions. I will tell you, we started something this year. If you're a police officer from another agency and you've got 3 or more years experience and like to transfer over to the Indiana State Police, you'll be guaranteed to go home to your home district. So that's a big carrot, I think.
Deal. So
Yeah, I'd say too, like John, one thing is if you're preparing for to get on I mean, right now making sound decisions, physical fitness, staying up to physical standards. Great idea.
We're certainly looking for those people that have good character, like you said. Dean, Seth, thank you so much for coming all the way up and sharing the recruiting update. Appreciate you.
Thank you,
for your
John.
time.
Thank you.